I'm Mary Starr with the Wait to Truth podcast. We are delighted to have as our return guest today Joel Maldonado. Many of you remember him. He has been on numerous times and always brings such a wealth of knowledge on things relative to the border and constitutional law. Those are his areas of expertise. He retired after 28 years with the Border Patrol. He also has written a book. Many of you have hopefully purchased that or at least heard about it. It's called The Binding Oath, A Border Patrol Journey and the Mayorkas Effect. So if you have not purchased the book, I would encourage you to do so. It's a very personal book that he has written, just detailing his life as a Border Patrol agent. Today, we're going to delve into a subject that's been a bit of a hot potato, depending on which side of the fence you're on, I guess. And it's about the gentleman named Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's the person from Maryland. So he was deported back to his native El Salvador by the Trump administration. He was a member of the MS-13 gang and also had a long list of crimes. He asserted through his attorneys that he actually was not a member of the MS-13 gang and that the cops just made it all up. He had on clothing that would indicate otherwise, that he was a part of that gang. Joel, one question that I have is, why would anyone who's not part of that gang wear clothing or other attire that would make it appear that they are a member? Why would you do that?
Well, if you know a little bit about the gang world, you don't wear their attire. You can get killed for that. So the fact that he was wearing that attire means only one thing, that he was part of that gang. Now, let me say something about what you were mentioning, and that's that Abrego came in technically legally. Let's get that straight. He lied, but he came in legally, if you want to even use that term loosely, because during the Biden administration and Mayorkas spearheading this, the biggest smuggling venture in the history of mankind, paid by the American taxpayer, he came in under the pretense that he was feared for his life because he was afraid of gangs. But what he failed to say is that he was afraid of gangs because he was partly telling the truth. Did you know that, Mary? He was partly telling the truth. He was afraid of gangs. He was afraid of the 18th Street Gang. The 18th Street Gang has a blood feud against the MS-13. So they kill each other on contact. So the fact that he was a MS-13 member and 18th Street Gang lived down the street or whatever, they want to kill him. So technically he had fear for his life, but he brought that upon himself. It's not like they were trying to recruit him or something like that. But anyway, under the Biden administration, any rule, any excuse will get you in. You can lie about anything, that you're afraid of poverty, that you're afraid of this or that, or that you're a homosexual and you're afraid. All these things, they allow you to come in. That was part of this scam that the Biden administration and Mayorkas spearheaded. Well, anyway, they let this guy in because he's afraid of gangs. And then he comes in, and when you come in under parole, when you're paroled in, which is what happened, it was under the understanding that he would go before an immigration judge and he would present himself every first Tuesday of the month in the nearest immigration office or USCIS office. And so that's the rules when you're paroled in. And everybody knows about this. It's the biggest scam in the history of mankind. So you enter, which he did. He was allowed in, sanctioned by the United States. And then he just never shows up. That's just the way it works. He never shows up. And of course, nobody's going to come looking for him. And most people give false addresses. They give like a address to a Catholic church or whatever religious organization which is facilitating the smuggling of people. Because let's face it, all these NGOs and all these organizations, they're also complicit. They're smuggling organizations. They're helping this facilitate this. So he comes in and never shows up. And guess what happens, Mary? Guess what happens? I mean, just go ahead and you, as an average citizen, what do you think would happen when he doesn't show up for his hearing? What would the judge do?
He should revoke his asylum.
That's exactly what happens. That is what's called due process. Okay, and I'm going to explain to your listeners what due process is. Okay, and I hope that I don't come across as arrogant or anything like that, but it really, a lot of people don't know this. Okay, so he didn't show up, so the immigration judge orders him deported in absentia. Okay, he is ordered deported in absentia since he didn't show up to his hearing. He is ordered deported. He now has no other opportunities for due process because he was given it. Okay, now let's explain due process. What is due process? Well, due process is what is constitutionally guaranteed to every single citizen, and believe it or not, people that are just here that are not citizens. That's what's great about this country. And our side may not agree with it, but anybody who's maybe on vacation or whatever, if you were in vacation in Spain, for example, you would want due process if you were accused of something, right? So this country affords that to citizens and non-citizens. So let's get that straight from our side. He has a right to due process. His due process was given to him. He committed a crime when he crossed through an area not designated as a port of entry. He crossed illegally. Now he's asking for mercy. He's asking, hey, I need to be in this country because I fear for my life. Okay, so we gave him under extended due process. We said, okay, we're not going to determine it right now, but we're going to allow you in this country. Just show up on these dates. He did not. So even our mercy, the extended due process that we gave him, he did not show up. He violated that, and he didn't show up. So he was ordered deported in absentia. So that means the next time he's encountered by anybody, he can be deported without any further hearing, without due process, because it's already happened. Okay, so due process is constitutionally guaranteed. Now, due process happens only on two occasions. One, when you've committed a crime or you've been accused of a crime. Sometimes those two are married together. But and many times it is the case that you're not wrongfully accused. Most of the time, if you've committed a crime, you're going to be accused of something. That's just the facts. He, without a doubt, committed a crime. He came across illegally, and so he was given due process. He failed to uphold his end of the bargain when we offered him extended due process. Now, it doesn't end there, Mary, because he hasn't been encountered. He hasn't been encountered. But then, and please interrupt me if I'm going too fast or if you need an explanation on this. Okay.
No,
Here's the thing.
You're doing a great job. Just keep on doing exactly how you're doing.
While he's here, he marries a U.S. citizen. He thinks that he's home free, right? He marries a U.S. citizen. Now, that U.S. citizen, his wife, who's been paraded with all the Democrats and paraded with all the elite media, sycophantic media, all in front of the cameras to say, my poor, this Maryland man and all this stuff. Okay, here's what happened. Okay, he married a United States citizen. You know what a United States citizen marrying a United States citizen can do for an illegal alien? Well, then he can change his non-immigrant status. It's called an I-485. So he could fill out a I-485 to change his status from non-immigrant to immigrant. So what's called an application, to put it in layman's term, it's an application for a green card. So because he's now married to a United States citizen. So why did his wife not fill out an I-485 for him? Why did Kilmar not fill out an I-485 for himself now that he's married a U.S. citizen? It's very obvious. You know why he didn't? Because he's now a deported alien. He has been served due process. So he knew the moment he tried to fill out that they would scoop him up and send him to El Salvador because he has been ordered deported. That's why his wife, if you want to get down to it, she was given an extended due process as well because he married a U.S. citizen and they could have filled that out, but they didn't because he already exhausted his due process. So they didn't fill it out. And I can't feel sorry for them. So they didn't fill that out. Now, even if he knew that, okay, I can't fill it out now because I'm a deported illegal alien in absentia, I can't do it. He can still go, if he really loves this woman, he can go home to El Salvador. He could self-deport himself, go to El Salvador, and then over there petition through the embassy, through the American embassy over there. And then they would have a little more leniency saying, okay, at least he went back to El Salvador. And then we can, it's a process that's how much the grace and mercy of the United States of America extends in due process. So, but he refused to do that because he didn't want to go home to El Salvador. He just wants to do his own thing. Like he didn't show up for his immigration hearing. He's a criminal. So he's going to do what criminals do, and that's to violate the law. So now, here's what happens during this whole incident. Okay, she did not file an I-485. You know what she did file? She filed a restraining order because he's a wife-beating, illegal alien, worthless idiot. So he beat the crap out of her and ripped off her shirt and just punched her like a good gentleman, El Salvadoran gentleman would. So he punched her and ripped off her shirt, and so she filed a restraining order on this guy. So he gets scooped up, and instead of being deported, because it's during the Biden administration, they order a record second order of deportation. It's like killing somebody and then killing them again. So instead of deporting him, they issue a second order of deportation. So don't tell me that due process has not been served. He's had time. And one of the things that you're given when you come into this country, when you're paroled into this country, one of the rules they have is abide by the law of the land, don't commit any crimes, report to these hearings. The simple rules. And he didn't abide by any of them. He does what a criminal does. And reportedly, he was also smuggling illegal aliens into this country while being here. So that is something we can't deny, that he is an MS-13 illegal alien, gang member. Now, no one knows this more than the El Salvadorian government. They know who a gang member is. They know what an enemy of the state looks like. So Bukele, the great and patriotic, awesome president of El Salvador, he knows that this guy is a gang member, so he considers him as a clear and present danger. So he has him in there, and he's not going to let him loose.
Right.
So he's not going to let him loose into his country. He knows he's a El Salvadorian citizen, but he's not going to let him loose because he's a confirmed gang member. The Bukele, for people that don't know of this awesome man, he took El Salvador as one of the most dangerous countries in the world to one of the safest countries in the world because he rounded them up. And so they scattered like rats, the ones that weren't apprehended and put in jail. And they the ones that did escape went to Honduras or to Guatemala and to do their gang enterprise there, but or probably came to this country like Kilmar did, Abrego Garcia.
Right.
They come to this country because this country is allegedly a nation of laws, but yet under the Biden administration, we let in all these people. So that's what happened. So when all these people say, well, I'm a conservative, but I don't know, Trump needs to give him due process. He was given due process. Get that out of your head. If you're a true conservative, do your research and quit giving the other side sunlight on this.
All right. So what are your thoughts as far as his future pathway? I mean, I don't see anything other than just him being in El Salvador where he is now and probably not returning to America.
Well, now he's in the hands of the government of El Salvador, where Bukele's in
Right.
charge, and he's not going to release a criminal. He's not, unless Trump begs him, and Trump is not going to do that. Trump begs him to send him back. Now, here's what's funny: the Supreme Court and other lower courts. This is so interesting, Mary. They said that they should, since he, of course, they didn't know all the facts, but since they're just sycophantic to the whims of what public opinion, what they think public opinion is, or what loud Democrats are saying. They right away they give a knee-jerk reaction, and luckily they said that this activist judge was wrong because he's in D.C. and this guy was deported out of Texas, so they cannot. He had no ruling in. He had no standing in that. So that just shows how these judges are so activist and they don't care about anything except treason to this country. But with that being said, they cannot. What they said is that the Trump administration needs to facilitate the reentry of Abrego Garcia. That is unbelievable. Do you know what the charge is for 8 USC 1324, which is illegal alien smuggling? You know what the language is in there, Mary? The language is anybody who facilitates the entry of an illegal alien. So the fact that they use the word facilitate the entry, that shows to me that we are no longer a nation of laws, that these people just care about whatever whims of the public opinion is or anything. But the more people learn, the more people realize that he's not just a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's an illegal alien who happens to live in Maryland and committing crimes in Maryland and beating his wife in Maryland and God knows what else. So don't tell me that this guy's a Maryland man. Don't try to humanize this guy. He's a criminal, illegal alien who's been ordered deported. He needs to go back to his native El Salvador. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that he's back in El Salvador with a bunch of MS-13 gang members. He has no fear for his life. He's safe. He's amongst his people.
Right.
And he's home. He's in his native El Salvador. As you said at the very beginning, Mary, he was deported to his native El Salvador. Since when have we become so lawless that even criminal gang members are being fought for, where Congress people are traveling south to go have alcohol with this guy and drink a buddy with him and say, we love you and we want you to come back and we're fighting for you. And the fact that an active congressperson and then later a few others went down there, that is a violation of the Logan Act. You cannot supersede, you cannot undermine U.S. policy. And U.S. policy is that we are a nation of laws and we're upholding the Immigration and Nationality Act. Trump is upholding the Immigration and Nationality Act. The fact that elected officials from our country are going over there and undermining the president, that is a violation of the Logan Act. But nobody's pursuing that.
No, not at all. Nope, they don't want to do that. That is yet one more example of the two-tiered system of justice that we've all been so frustrated over.
Yeah, and you know what, Mary, we need to go after all these people that are that, like these Congress people that stormed an ICE facility. Why aren't they being arrested and held under high bond? No, instead there's nothing being they're not being charged or anything yet. But then again, we need to be patient. I will caution our side to be patient, because let me tell you this, word in the street, and I called this out in my book, The Binding Oath, in the last chapter, that Mayorkas would soon face the howling wolves. And word in the street is that Pam Bondi is the Attorney General of the United States is preparing to file charges of treason against him.
That is good news. And although we all would like for that to have happened 2 months ago, the fact is that they have to methodically and carefully prepare all of their investigation, their charges. Everything has to be done correctly, properly, and by the book, or else the case will not end up being successful. So
Exactly. I think that's what was truly going on, even though I was very impatient and demanded that he be charged immediately and all this stuff. But they had to, dot their I's and cross their T's.
yeah,
They had to do this right, Mary, because this guy needs to be made an example of. And this guy was the most treasonous of all of those snakes that are in there. He facilitated, and not only that, but he prosecuted and went after agents that were doing the job, like the horse patrol in Del Rio. There were many times right before I retired where I went to my superiors and I said, this is not a lawful order. Why am I doing this? I cannot release these illegal aliens. We were under a direct order and all this stuff, and in fear of losing our jobs if we didn't do that. And so he should be held accountable for the violation of his oath. We all take that binding oath. That's why I wrote that book, The Binding Oath, because that is a binding oath between you and God himself, that you will uphold the Constitution. And when you don't uphold the Constitution, then you're not worthy of being trusted. You are a treasonous idiot that should not be trusted. And this Mayorkas needs to be tried. And don't get me started on what I think he should become of him, of the consequences. But the thing is that at least he needs to be tried. He needs to feel this. And I'm certain that the Department of Government Efficiency, that Doge,
Mhm.
I'm certain that nothing has. You've heard of all these things they're finding in the IRS and all these things,
Yes.
but you haven't heard a thing about DHS. And I think that's because this is just my opinion. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but my opinion is that I think that they haven't said anything about DHS with all these NGOs and money being misappropriated from FEMA into DHS to bring in illegal aliens. All that is all part of an ongoing investigation. That's what I think.
Yes.
And so
Well,
I'm really hopeful that this guy will be tried, and and then and that will put everybody uh, in check. Now I hear people from our side saying, "Well, Trump needs to be careful because he's starting a dangerous precedent." No, what have they been doing to our side all along? The J6ers, um, and Trump himself has been charged with all these stuff that was proven to be fake news and all this stuff, and then yet it's just all forgotten. Yet some of the hardcores like Hillary continue repeating those lies, even though she invented it, and nothing's done to them.
right.
Nothing's done to the people that fabricated that stuff. But so our side needs to be judicious in this and say, okay, we're going to go after true treason, and not just because we're going out for retribution. This is true treason, that what Mayorkas did. This guy, in my book, I highlight a lot of the things, and like I said, I called it that he would face his time, and I'm proud to say that like in many of our podcasts, Mary, that I've called a lot of things, and
Mhm.
they've come true. I'm no prophet, but I'm pretty accurate on a lot of political things. And I'm telling you, this is a long time coming. I can't wait to the day that Pam Bondi goes up there and announces in a press conference that she's filing charges against Mayorkas. I'd love to see him handcuffed and in an orange jumpsuit. Oh, I'd love to see that. I'd love to
Well,
see him in Gitmo or something. But that's just my fantasy.
there are many people that agree, would certainly agree with that, and I'm in that crowd. But I cannot imagine how much pleasure you would get out of that. Here's the distinction, though: the left is saying, oh, well, Trump is doing this and doing that. Trump is following the Constitution. And that's the one failure. The Biden administration was not following the Constitution and all of these things that they did to Trump and the J6ers. They cannot say that they are following our Constitution and our laws because they were not.
Well, have you noticed that? Because the Democrats can never, um, their points and their talking points always have to be orchestrated, and they give it to the media and they repeat it. So they start saying constitutional crisis and all this stuff. And what do they know about the Constitution, Mary? I mean, I consider myself to be a constitutional scholar of sorts, and I tell you what, I don't trust anybody who says during the election they were saying that Trump is a threat to democracy. That shows you that they know nothing about the Constitution, because we're not a democracy; we are a
Right.
constitutional republic. And if they knew that, and yet our side repeats that, no, he's not. He's not a threat to democracy. And they should have just corrected them and make them look like buffoons that they are. But yet, um, I'm not so one sided that I don't criticize our side. And I'll tell you what, Mary, I get so mad at the spineless Republicans that exist out there, that we need to have people that are more principled and and that
Yes.
and that care about the Constitution. And they are few and far between. I mean, I'm just uh I love our congressman from Texas, Chip Roy. He's got 100% rating on the Constitution. He's just a very good representative, And that's the kind of people we need, people with principles that will not stand up for party, because I could care less about party, because
No.
sometimes parties just want to get something passed to get score points and this and that. I care about principles, constitutionally based principles.
Mhm. Totally agree with you on that. So you've got a couple of things that we had saved for the last year, a couple of little celebrations that you get to have. You've had one, and you've got another one coming up. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, sure, I would. I would. First, I just want to give a shout out to my son, Christian, who just graduated from Texas Tech University with a major in computer engineering. Oh my goodness, he has gone through so much, and has been an uphill battle all the way, but he got it done, and I'm so proud of him, and and I think he's going to do some great things, and
I have no doubt about that because he's had an amazing father to mentor him. So he's a very blessed young man, and I am absolutely certain he will have great success in the future.
Well, I tell you what, Mary, I don't know where he gets it from, but he's very intelligent. I consider myself to be savvy in political issues and things like that, but I can't even get through. I have a hard time with algebra. I can't imagine getting through computer engineering and doing the hard courses and stuff that he went to become a computer engineer. So I'm just so proud of him, and I think he's going to do some great things in this world. And we talked about this earlier in this whole thing that earlier about the visas and everything. I'm not about giving visas to foreigners until our citizens, our kids, have a chance first to get a good job, a good paying job. So that's what I'm all about.
Well, please pass on our congratulations to Christian for a job well done, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
So the next thing we want to talk about is some future things coming up with you, and I'm going to let you make that little announcement.
Okay, well, this is kind of if you don't follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I mean, well, X, formerly Twitter, um, I am about to publish my second book. Um, it's it's currently in publication. It is in production, so it should be out pretty soon. And I'm so excited about this book. And first, let me give you the title. The title is Life, Liberty, and Political Happiness. And that's a play on words with the
Yes.
Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, why do I say political happiness at the end of that? Well, the reason why is because look at what we're seeing today. After Trump got elected, did you see video after video of people just going unhinged, people crying and filming themselves, and just going crazy,
Yes.
unhinged people
Yes.
saying that their life is over and that they're no longer going to have sex with a man and all kinds of things. That's just one example. And here's another example, Mary. People that claim to be animal rights activists. Those same animal rights activists want to get rid of the cow because of the methane gas, right? For the flatulence, the flatulence of the cow. So that's hurting the environment. So they want to get rid of the cow altogether. Does that make sense? There are for animal rights except certain animals, but here's my point of the whole book. It's a constitutionally based book. It's constitutional principles that I attained. And now there's many ways to gain constitutional principles, sound principles. But I attained the majority of mine through poverty, growing up in poverty. For example, nobody has to tell me that to save the environment because I recycle everything. Because growing up poor, you recycle everything. But yet my views are on recycling is because either I'm frugal, which is, my wife would argue that's that, or it's because the way I was brought up. It's not because I feel this way and I want to control you, and I'm going to get mad if you don't recycle, and I'm going to throw paint on you if you eat a cow, or if you eat meat, or I'm going to go destroy your Tesla because you're not saving the environment, even though that kind of vehicle saves the environment, allegedly. That is the kind of unhinged behavior I talk about in this book. It is so much fun. I had so much fun writing it. Unlike The Binding Oath. Now, The Binding Oath, don't get me wrong, it was very therapeutic. That's why I wrote it, because I retired after 28 years in the Border Patrol. So it was important for me. My wife urged me to write a book, because it was very therapeutic. I could talk about the treason that's going on. So I really enjoyed writing it, but not as much as I did this one. That one, I wrote it because I felt like I had to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I felt like I had to. This book, it was just so much fun writing it. It was about my upbringing. It's an autobiography, faith-based, and constitutionally based. Those are the three genres that are on there. And it's so much fun. It's hilarious. It's got funny stories, anecdotal stories. The early reviews coming out on it is saying that it's equivalent to the hillbilly elegy, and it's a very populist message that is just resonates with a lot of people. And I try not to mention liberal and conservative. I just try to simply say certain people say this and this, and I'll let you decide who I'm talking about. But it's really just a testament to where we are today. So if you, Mary, are happy with your principles and you're firm in what you believe in, you will not be threatened by the liberal left. You won't be threatened by it. Well, you may disagree with them, of course, but you're not going to go scratch their car or do this or that.
Right.
There's only one side that's doing that kind of stuff. And that is because I argue in the book that they're not truly principled. They just truly want to control you, and they just want to tell you what to do. That's what it's all about, is control. And the same thing with the Democratic Party and what we're seeing today. So I think you will love the narrative that I do in this book, and like I said, it's I will come on your show, and we will announce when when it's released. How's that, Mary?
Thank you for that. That means the world to me. So I can't wait for the book to come out, and we will definitely have you on for the official announcement and release.
Awesome.
So, I'm honored. Well, Joel, it's been awesome. Thank you once again for being with us, and look forward to having you back again soon.
Okay, Mary, you're a great American. Hang in there.
Thanks. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the Awake to Truth podcast. Visit our website at awaketotruth.org and connect with Mary Starr on X at @awaketotruth_ and on Rumble at Awake to Truth Ministries. The Awake to Truth podcast, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded by shadows.